Så jeg sidder her med David, og jeg tror, jeg siger hans navn rigtigt, når jeg siger Kabelitz. David er en ven af mig, og han er en nabo til mig, og ikke nok med det, så er han selvstændig og iværksætter og har været han kan selv dele mere omkring det lige om lidt, men har været i hvert fald som jeg har forstået det, meget inden for reklamebranchen, og nu handler det rigtig meget om kunstig intelligens, og det er lige præcis derfor, jeg spurgte om David har noget frisk på det her interview. Jeg taler kun kort på dansk her, fordi David han er tysker og taler engelsk sammen med mig. Men to ting i det. Den ene er, at jeg vil se, om jeg kan få det oversat, sådan, så der kommer engelske undertekster på. Hvis det bliver for bøvlet, så kan du, eller burde du kunne gøre det på YouTube, hvis du gerne vil have det med danske undertekster. Gå ind og så vælg danske undertekster. Og herfra bliver det på engelsk. David, this was just an introduction to the Danish entrepreneurs watching our little show here, that it's going to be in English from now on. And I'm just going to spend maybe 1 or 2 minutes speaking a little bit about you as I've seen you and know you and why we're on this call, and then you can introduce yourself a little bit more than I've just done. Sure. So hi. In English, David here is a friend of mine now, and we are neighbors also, living in the same area here, very close to the beach in Amager in Copenhagen. And we've been talking probably during the last couple of years, walking, talking, having a coffee sometime. And you're an entrepreneur, and you've been, as I understand it, you can correct me or speak more about it in a moment, but you've been very much into ads and commercials and things like this. And we have been talking very much about AI, artificial intelligence, the last couple of years, and been brainstorming on different things. And I know, as I understand it, that that's what I really look forward to dive into with you. You've gone really deep into AI and playing with it, working with it, and I really look forward to just pick your brain. And I think you got maybe something you can show us too. And yeah, I really look forward to this. And I told David that if you want to join me here, it would be awesome. And also that there's no agenda. This is very loose. This is very just we speak and we see what happens. So welcome, David. And could you just introduce yourself maybe a little better than I did?
Oh, sure. And thanks a lot for having me here. Yeah, David or Dave originally from Germany, moved 2 years. It's this December. It's my 2nd year to Copenhagen. I'm in the internet world, let's say it like this, around about 22 years. I started quite early in that business with setting up websites, because in the beginning that was the most thing you can do, because at this time the need was not that high. I worked in agencies that were not focused on internet. So usually they did, for example, animations or motion design or print design, and I was the add-on for the new internet stuff. So I always learned all the other things like animation, 3D, motion and editing, and that helped me later on also for the internet stuff. So fast forward, I had an agency for digital branding in Germany. That means we helped brands, existing or new ones, to develop their brand on digital channels. Digital channels means to create a website. It could be also an app. It could be a social media strategy, marketing strategy. So basically everything what happens on digital, social media, whatever, we were creating and helping. So, and it could be that they start at zero, or they have an existing brand, and then they maybe want to introduce a new product, need a new strategy. So we were helping with the strategy, with let's say, what is the competition doing, and what could be a niche and things like that. And since 2 years, AI is more or less part of my daily life. So it started just with ChatGPT, and quite early, I started with writing content with AI to speed up the process, because writing content was always something where not enough time was available on a daily basis. And so that was my start. And with generative AI, generating images, I also started around about 2 years ago, but now it's part of my daily life. And the first steps with AI were, because the quality was not that good, it was just test and play around, and but quite early, for example, or for instance, my quite early experience that was useful, and that's a case that is very common. I had my company site with photos of a very expensive photo session, and there was one employee that was not working anymore, and I want to switch out the image, but keep still the image because the style, everything was nice. So I tried to regenerate it with AI, but with a not existing person, and that worked quite well already 2 years ago. So I used something that already exists and replaced it or extended my stuff. And this is, in my opinion, a very common use case, because if you spend a lot of money into shooting with a very good photographer, it does not always make sense to do another shooting just for a new person, or whatever, you painted the wall in a different color and things like that. You can easily work with AI in that case. And now, especially for 25, my strategy is full on AI, and especially images and videos. Also focus on social media. I also did my first exhibition as an AI artist or creative. It's hard to say what I am, let's say, an AI creative. It's not defined yet. And the exhibition was also just a test. And what I did, I was part of the Golden Days, a festival here in Copenhagen, and the topic this year was about work-life balance. And I did an exhibition with mixed media. So that means I had 3 audio stations with old cassette recorders, where I recorded with AI generate sounds, a fictitious voice journal of a person that was struggling about life and happiness and work, and then over the different station, how John Doe was the name, how he changed his life and stopped the job and did something creative. And this was my first test. If people first will recognize that some stuff is based on AI, and will it be a problem? And it was quite interesting because at the end of my exhibition, I did a big reveal. So that means everyone who was there now, okay, that was based on AI, but it was no problem at all. People enjoyed more the story and the experience, and that something was based on AI was not a topic at all. So the funny moment was, because all the images, I will show some later on, some people even asked me when I took them in Copenhagen, because some were with Copenhagen influenced, and that was a quite fun experience. So that's a little bit some of my last 20 years and what I'm doing now.
Thanks, David. And actually, before I already got lots of questions here, but before,
Sure.
before we dive into this, and before anything else, you said Dave and I say David. What do you prefer, David or Dave?
It's funny because in German it's David. That is my birth name. Then I had that rebel phase in my youth where everyone called me Dave, and now in Denmark I'm back to Dave because that is also my artist name. So Dave is okay, or David. It's I don't care.
Okay, David, I'm not going to say it in German.
Yeah.
David. So, and tell me, David, Dave, and you say your artist name. Your artist name, what is that? Dave, what?
Dave Farrell. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I came up with that idea because um, um, because for me it's a restart here, especially also with AI, so a new location. So my idea was to showcase some of my work to potential customers. The best idea is to create my own project, my own version, my own alter ego, and I use that name now for all my creative AI stuff. So that is my name on TikTok, on Instagram, and my website. And so everything that is related to AI and maybe future businesses are done with that artist name. So it's it's an artist name, simple as that.
Got it. And David, if I understand your story, and please let me know, because I just had an idea or some pictures when you spoke. You've been working 22 years with internet, and like you mentioned in the beginning, it was websites. And if we go 22 years back, that's kind of like not the early stage of internet, but it's still like the early stage of web pages. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. So it was a time where web shops, there were some web shops, but not many web shops. You had to create everything on your own. There was no content management systems. So that was crazy. And maybe that is something hard to believe, but there was also no way to research at the internet. It was Google was not existing when I started. We had some search engines in Germany, but usually, if you want to research something, you still bought some books. So yeah, it was quite early, correct. And just for example, because there was already from Hanover was an artist, and let's say he combined motion and 3D on a quite early stage with Flash. Flash was a software that you can use to animate things. And sometimes when he always created every couple of months, he created a big project. It was just animations and blah, blah, blah. So very artsy. And sometimes you had to wait 30 minutes to load that project before you can press start. And that was the beginning. So sometimes websites had some time to load. Yeah. So hard to believe, but it was that early.
And the thing, why the pictures that I got here listening to your story is that that's 22 years, and that's kind of the beginning of the internet, the pages, and like you said, Google didn't even exist at that point. One more question before I come to the to my point here, but what about phones at that time? Because I know now we're speaking about 5G, 6G. We got those different generations, and as I understand it, is every 10 years or something, the next generation comes. But when you started 22 years ago, do you remember what generation on phones we were on?
Yeah, sure. Normal phone with a cable and to press numbers and when I even started in my first job, it was already okay. But when I was at home and I was using the internet, my telephone line was blocked. It was like that. So because I had ESDN was the German word for it. So with ESDN, you had the possibility to have two lines. So that means you were able to go online and telephone. But usually in my youth and later on with my first apartment, just one thing was possible: to go to the internet with a modem and use the telephone line and or to have a telephone call. So yeah.
It's so amazing. It's really like something is popping here in my mind because it's 22 years. And I know maybe there's a person sitting that's 22 years old that think that's a lifetime. That's correct for that person.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my daughter, Delhi to London some years ago, and I showed her this is a phone booth, phone
Yeah.
booth.
Yeah.
And she said, "Why do you have a phone booth?" She could not figure out in her head why
Yeah.
a person would need a box to go in and make a call. Now, the thing that came to my head when you spoke, David, that's 22 years from the first days of the internet, from not the phones that we know today. And when you began only 2 years ago, and we spoke about it at that time, I remember going into ChatGPT, going into beginning developing images. And I recall the times we spoke about it during the last couple of years. In 2 years, compared to the 22 years, do you have can you describe in your mind how the things have evolved? I don't know if it makes sense, the question, but only in 2 years compared to the 22 years.
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's crazy, and nothing developed so fast like AI. And never experienced something like this. Just for example, um, I'm still working with a website and developing website, and we developed a workflow that is based on a workflow on 2018, and it's still actual. So it's still on point. Some parts are updated, but something, yeah, for websites I developed 6 years ago, I still can use, and it's not outdated. So, and for me, when I worked at the first web page, it was already huge, but in my opinion, AI is in another dimension. So it's even much more important than the invention of the internet itself. So it's such a huge thing, and it's incredible fast. And maybe just for example, 2 years I started with the first image generation. Now we are talking about image generation that are hyper photorealistic. I can use for print campaigns. And just some months ago, we started with image to video generation on AI. 1 year ago, the quality was, there were already some tests a year ago, but the quality was something like a bad meme. So it was really ugly and crazy and not usable at all. It looks like an experiment from I don't know, a laboratory, things like that. So nothing serious. And now every 2 weeks it feels like something new with video and AI is coming out, a new company. So it's at the moment it's a big fight between do you use something from China or the US? So those are the big players, and for example, the same with music. I remember when I started, let's say 8 months ago, I started to generate first tracks and sounds with AI. And now I can generate a 3 minute song that is on radio quality. That is crazy. For example, for some of my videos, I even prompted sounds. I still can download sounds or out of libraries, but it was just interesting to test. Okay, how good is that already? And so sound, video, images, it's crazy fast, and it's so fast that a normal person, um, you need to jump on the train. So I need to, because it's based also connected to my business. So I would be totally outdated in my business world, in my daily life, if I'm not using AI. But for a normal person, that's Yeah, that's like when the internet started, and I remember when my mom used the first time the internet and was overwhelmed. And if you're not doing it on a daily basis, it's very hard. And the same with AI. So many tools are easy to use, but at the end, you always have a difference if someone with experience is using it or someone with less experience. So and it's crazy fast. It's to come back
It's
to your question, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was sitting with a friend who's he's young. He's studying some, I don't know if it's called AI thing, but it's in Copenhagen Business School. He's
Yeah.
highly educated. He's a very talented guy. He's also a ballet dancer, very dear friend of mine. And he showed me a couple of apps, and I really didn't believe it. I don't recall the names, but one of them, it was a music app. So it was just, I could put in Bob Marley style, and I could put in with the voice of Sade, for example, and I could put in a couple of words. And
Mm-hmm.
in a couple of minutes, I think maybe 4,
Mm-hmm.
there was a song. No
Mm-hmm.
one ever did this song before, and it was mind blowing for me that those few words, and that's what you call a prompt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very simple. And then I had a music song. Now there was something about how to you could not play it online and something like that. There was some legalization thing. But what you're speaking about now with the images, with the videos, with the music also, is this something that you're aware of, that apps and things like that, they also like more and more are coming to the market?
Yeah, so definitely is because the use cases are unlimited, and if it's even local, so yeah, so there's still a lot of companies coming in, and the interesting part um, will be someone specialized in something, because at the moment each image generator you can use different ones. uh, mm, I would say useful for all or most cases. With the video generators, I already recognize that for different purposes I need different video generators already, because some are better in certain things. Let's say I just have a simple camera movement of a street, and I want to do a tilt animation of a camera, so straight coming up. Then I use a different one as let's say I have an animation of close up face. So for different animations, I already use different video generation tools, and for images, I always use the same. But eh, what I already can see is that more and more companies integrate AI into their existing service. If you have Canva, if you have Photoshop, Adobe is no, for all the creative people. If it's Photoshop or Premiere, so Adobe always or is a market leader in what I'm doing with all different kinds of software. Let's say video editing software, or let's say image editing software, and they have AI already integrated. One example is you have, let's say, a photo, yeah, and you take it to Photoshop, and you can bring it to a new format, and the white space that was not existing before can filled up by Photoshop, and to create a new dimension. Or, for example, and that is already crazy, Adobe Premiere is for editing videos. And in instance, you have a scene that is 2 seconds long, and then you have a gap of 1 second. Premiere can fill the 1 second and generate material that fits to the first 2 second scene. That is already possible. And I saw a demo of Adobe some months ago. They are working on it, where a person is walking around in real time. The tie is changed, or the jacket is changed. to a new outfit in a video. So that is already crazy. And yeah, and I see definitely more services coming up. For example, definitely everything related to fashion, because fashion is a big market. So in my opinion, the biggest impact AI will have everything online. So websites, e-commerce, advertising, social media. All social media content could be generated by AI, localization of those contents. And fashion is always annoying thing, especially if you have a brand. So to invest in a shooting costs a lot of money. Then if you're an international brand, sometimes you do localization campaigns. That means you did your shooting in the US and the imagery style would not fit into the EU market. And it's very expensive to localize and reshoot something. With AI, it's easily possible. So you can do take an existing photo of a campaign with clothing and just exchange the skin color or the person's itself. And so that's definitely a big thing in the future.
This part is it's I think we spoke about this before. And as you know, I've been doing some acting, I've been in movies, I've been doing some modeling work and things like that. So speaking about these things that I will dive a little bit into now with you, it's kind of like I'm thinking, okay, it goes in a way, and what you're doing, it will kind of take away a lot of I wouldn't say noise, but like you say, expenses for companies, because they don't have to hire a whole team, or they can hire maybe someone to do it in AI. So there's more questions here, but the first one, David, is that if I remember correct, and from what you said now, some of the works you've done, and I think you told me about it, one of a kind of a big company in Germany too, but you did like I don't know if it was a branding campaign or a commercial or something for them where it actually was AI generated. Is that correct? Remembered?
Yeah, I did a couple. The question is which one you are talking about. Yeah, but what I did for a company that is original from Germany, but has worldwide markets, and for them I did a banner campaign and developed a concept based on AI, because they always have the problem. They have round about 9 product lines, and also 7 or 8 markets. And usually all ads were the same, especially if they had a big TV campaign, everything was the same. And I developed a concept to localize the ads per product per market. So, for example, that in Spain, a Spanish person or Spanish looking person is shown and not someone from the US. And that was the first big test. And because the technology changed so fast, now it would be even easier. But that was a big thing, to have a consistent style and same positions and things like that a year ago. I did it last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. And what do you think about we can talk about the movies, we can talk about the images.
Yeah, movies maybe, because sorry to interrupt you, but one thing came in your mind when you said about actor, and that will be that is an interesting market and change, and I'm not sure if it's good for actors or not, or maybe a new possibility. Maybe because the look doesn't matter anymore. What I already, and I will show an example. What's already possible now is that, for example, I act in front of the camera. and I speak in front of the camera and with gestures and my eyes are moving, my lips are moving, my head is moving, and I can use that video as a base with AI character, and then the scene is regenerated with that AI character. That would mean in the future we can create a full movie with, let's say, we have 10 main characters and all are played with the same real actor, because he plays it in front of a camera on his own, and just the AI is used to generate the AI character. And then this is already on a high level. And for small productions or even for big companies, it's very interesting. So you can compare it with the guy who did Gollum in Lord of the Rings, because he was also playing it in real, and then everything was projected with CGI. But somehow it's the same way of thinking about that, because you still would need an actor, and the quality is crazy, because how your eyes are moving, how your lips are moving, it feels more natural instead of prompting it if you play it on your own. And I can see with that small production, small online TV shows, movies that are able to produce on a low budget level but on a high quality. And that's the cool thing about AI. So less risk because of costs. And if you have an idea, it's possible to realize in a very short amount of time. So that's very interesting for acting. And the good thing is it does not is important anymore how you look. So let's say to casting, it doesn't matter if it's a man, it's or a wife, or is it an old guy or a young guy. It doesn't matter, because even the voice can be exchanged with AI. So it's just important how good you are in acting, and that's an interesting case. And let's see how the future changes.
That's interesting, and I actually I've heard, so I'm not 100% sure about this. Maybe you know, but two sides of the same thing in the big movie companies in United States. I've heard that they already have kind of made deals with some of the great actors. So there's, and I can't remember the name for this, but uh, it's a little bit like you play a song in the radio in Denmark and you have to pay something. And those actors, the big ones, they can actually, from their acting, they can sell themselves or rent themselves out to new AI movies. So they don't have to be 3 months on a set, but
Correct.
they can
Correct.
actually. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I already know about the license models, especially for advertising and things like that. So someone from the US can run a campaign in Japan and never left the country. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for me it was kind of like whoa. And also the other thing was that I've heard that extras, the extra, not actors but extras, the fill people that you put in movies, that already now there have been a couple of cases where they put in extras and the extras were not told about this, so they actually just put them in for a couple of hours and paid them for that, but then they used them in different scenes with I think AI, and just copied them or whatever they did. I don't know if this is real, but I think it is. So now there's some kind of contract for this, so the extras know this. Have you heard about this too?
No, not yet, but
No.
it's interesting. Yeah, and somehow it makes sense. Yeah, cool.
So what do you? I'm very curious about this. What do you think now? From a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
in movies, we had actors, we had a whole movie team, or in a commercial. And if, like you spoke about images, we have one person sitting working for days in Photoshop or whatever they did. They maybe even the same with paintings. We have painters being creative. You spoke about in the beginning with ChatGPT, like writing takes a lot of time. Now we can write a book in a day or maybe less than that. My question now is, from your perspective, what do you think? Is this good for creativity? Is it killing creativity? Is this some, how can I say this? Because where does the artist that wants to write or act, are we killing this, or?
No, for me, it's just a tool set because, as I said, let's take 3 examples. A good writer. I'm talking just about people good in their businesses. If you have a bad writer, it's possible that AI is writing better. But let's say a good writer is always better than AI. Not faster, but his writing style and is always better. But a good writer also can prompt better to write a text because he has the knowledge. Same with a photographer. A photographer has knowledge about lights, shadows, composition, and will integrate that always in his prompt. So the result would always be better with AI, and the same as for videos and things like that. So a normal person without a background in these spaces can definitely use AI to generate something, but it's very generic and nothing unique. So also we have already AI that is used to develop software. And somehow at the end, you always need someone to make a quality check, even if it's images. Someone needs to say that's a good or a bad image. And for that, you always need people with knowledge. So it will, I would say, not very talented people in certain business areas, they will have problems. But all the experts will still need in the future, because those experts will use AI to speed up processes. But the AI results are always different if you have deep knowledge of what you are creating at the moment. It's complete different result if you're an artist, a photographer, a videographer, or let's say, I don't know, a bus driver. So the outcome would be completely different. If there is somehow and that's possible, that there are AI tools with mimic or duplicating an existing artist style, then even a normal person can recreate something looking like artist ABC, but then it's just a copy, nothing unique. So in my opinion, it's just an AI tool, and you always need creative people to come up with creative ideas, because even with AI, you still need a storyboard. Well, at first, you still need a good idea, you need a good storyboard and a good execution. And for a movie, we know so many cinema movies with no success because the story was not good or the execution was not good. So it's not a guarantee of using AI to have good results. With general, you can generate general stuff that is okay, but that would never win any award or will entertain people in a long time. So that's maybe. So I don't think AI will take any job away.
It's interesting because my own not thesis, but more like idea about this is actually because, like, I've been not as much as you, but I've been using AI too for different things. And when you say tool, it's kind of what I sit with also. So if we have like an author, a writer, or an image creator or something, instead of them, and there might be good or bad things here, I don't know, but instead of them taking a week to create something, they can actually create hundreds of things in this week. So I kind of like play with these things that it's actually expanding the creativity because more can come out. It's not time anymore that's stopping it, but actually the creativity
and money, yeah, and money.
and money
Yeah.
too. Exactly, yeah. Does that make sense, that idea?
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. I'm the best example. For example, I always had ideas in my head, creative ideas, but before I would say 90% were impossible to execute because I was not able of, I don't know, use 10 camera people and 10 models to create fictitious spots for vans for social media. With our AI, I would, okay, now let's play lottery first before I can do that. But now, when I have an idea and even a crazy one, I'm able to execute it because there's less risk, and that's, in my opinion, it's even good for creativity because now you just need a good idea to start, and for example, if you start with an idea and maybe the final product is not AI, but let's say it's again a storybook for a movie. But maybe you started with AI and later on it will be sold to a production company because the idea was so good. So I would say it's like an assistant, and sometimes it's like to have 10 assistants on a, let's say, budget-friendly way.
Yeah, and
But
actually,
it's not for free, to be honest. Some of my work I will show later on, and some of my videos just for the generation I spent. And maybe it does not sound expensive, but if you do thousands of them, it's really getting expensive. For example, for my last videos, I spent round about in credits 10 euros or more, and if you do that 100 times a month, so it's already counting.
yeah,
So
that's
it's
gonna be expensive, yeah.
uh,
A- And what I was just saying before here, David, that even when you say, because that's an idea also, when you say that now it's only about getting the ideas, and I was thinking because I've kind of had this idea here too, that we have a person who might want to do something but is missing maybe the idea. Even the idea, the AI could help generate some ideas that could take a person maybe a month or a year or 10 years sometimes. And just chatting and having fun with ChatGPT could actually spark ideas that could get this person moving. Um, and I say this because I think it's amazing if we take that hat on and look in a positive way on this.
yeah.
So David,
The problem at the moment with AI is that ideas are based on existing data, and most ideas that are created by AI are not unique and not new. So because AI is at the moment using existing data, can combine data, but it's not create something. So let's say you define or want to create a storyboard of a movie. It will be based on something that we already know from the past. It could combine things, but it will be not completely something new out of the box. So, but
and
you're
what
totally right. To have a starting point in a brainstorm, and instead of starting at zero and starting with something, it's definitely a big help.
what you're mentioning right now, I think actually it was today I read this. I don't know if you are aware about this, and I'm not that much into it, but I read that there has just been like recently Nvidia, the CEO, went out and spoke about the next generation, and it was just what you mentioned there. I just read a couple of lines of this. As I understood this, maybe you know about this, but until now, what he said was that we have to, the AI can only operate on all the data it has. So we have to feed it, or it has knowledge from the internet, or it gets it. But the next generation, as I understood this, it will begin to think by itself. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah, the question is how soon is it available for everyone at home? Because for that you still need crazy computers. They use a lot of energy, and using AI is at the moment it's not very environment friendly. It costs a lot of energy and power and things like that. But yeah, you are right. But I have no idea how fast that comes. And but also interesting because I don't know if he also said that, but at the moment, everything that is generated by AI, or let's say everything AI is trained with, all the data is data created by humans. And in some time, we have so much AI data out in the internet. And there's a theory that the quality of AI will not getting better because so much data is out there based on AI. So if we have for instance, yeah, when the AI is searching the internet for a certain amount of article about a certain topic, and 50% of those articles are created with AI. So how good is the quality of the outcome with the AI? So let's see, that will be interesting. The same with images and also all those training data. When the amount of AI-based data is rising. So that's also an interesting development, because at the moment everything is done, or still not everything, but the biggest amount of data is human data, human created data.
Yeah, but I'm still, like we spoke about in the beginning, I think in a moment you can show some of your work, but I'm still like thinking about this 22 years to develop the internet to where we are now, and only 2 years with AI. And like you said, it's moving so fast. So every day there's new stuff. And I'm kind of like, my idea here, I would really like to understand what you're thinking, David. My idea is that our brain can in no way understand or fantasize or anything about how everything will be in just a couple of years from now. I mean, I don't know when it was, 3 years ago or something like that, we didn't have ChatGPT, right? And it's happened so fast, like you said. So my belief is that we have no clue how all of this will, because it's going to go like this with all the data and all of that. What's your take on that one? The future in the next few years.
Few years.
That's a big question.
I can imagine, because at the moment it's and that AI will become really something like not a real person, but someone or something, someone that is integrated in all your systems, and you really can talk to it, and it knows you and remembers you and knows your things you like and don't like, and can generate text, music, everything, because all the services already have APIs that somehow we end up with an assistant that maybe even has a hologram, like in some of the movies already, and you can talk with them, and everything will be done in the background with AI. I really can imagine that. Just for instance, that is already. I don't know if it's a German company, but that's already happening, and there's a company, and sorry, I don't remember the name, that created a game world that is generated in real time. It's not developed code. So you can already walk and jump around in a game that is generated in real time. So that is not predefined. And that is already crazy for games. There are some real or open world games, different kinds, GTA and whatever. But imagine a game that is not programmed at all, that is generated by AI and could be in every second different, and you're walking around and something is happening. That is already crazy. So
Does
yeah.
that mean, just for me to understand, so you say you have like a game, and instead of that it's predetermined, okay, if I go over here, this will happen. Instead, the AI will all the time figure up, and probably is going to learn the participants on the way too. So the AI can kind of like play with the competitive participants on the way.
Yeah. So
Wow.
the first test was like this. So and that is crazy. So that means that you have a game that is not, because usually games are defined in a box and they are not very open. So everything is an algorithm, and there's no surprise in it. So maybe in the story, but still a game is something boxed and with limits. And when AI can create something in real time, that is crazy. But that also would mean that you can watch a TV series that is not pre-produced, and maybe depending on your mood, the scenery or the storyline is changing in real time. So
I,
in some time, so I would say that's something that is possible in 1-2 years. That maybe with a buffer time of 10 seconds, that you watch a film that was not existing 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I was just thinking actually it's crazy, but we have no idea, right? So I was just thinking
Yeah.
we could actually have a movie, like an app I told with the music. So we could have a movie, and I just put in what I want the movie to be about, who I like. What's his name? I like Robert De Niro. I want him in the movie. I like Samantha Fox. I want her in the movie, and I tell what the movie is about. But also, it will measure my emotions, my heart rate, and maybe even it will scan my eyes. So, like you say, who knows? Instead of in the old times, we had to walk down and get a tape and put it in the machine. Now it will maybe take 5-10 minutes, and there's a movie that nobody else have seen, and it's gonna change by the way I react to the movie. If there's something funny and I laugh and it sees that's good for me, it will make more of those moments. That would kind of be like amazing if or crazy.
Yeah, it will be definitely possible. So to generate whole movies based on a prompt, let's say, instead of using Netflix and click something and searching for something, can say, today I just have 45 minutes left and I want something funny and blah blah blah, and you prompt it in and wait 5 minutes, and then you have your 45 minutes short movie generated by AI, and enjoy it. And then next one, another prompt. I'm pretty sure that will come, because it's already more or less possible not to generate the full output, but it's already changing so fast. I definitely can see that you prompt your movie idea from your couch, and definitely in 2 years, it's definitely possible.
That's a $1 billion business idea for sure. That's $1 billion. You said something about a hologram, and you spoke about assistant. Would you mind like putting a little bit more words on how you see that might work out?
Yeah, because ChatGPT and all the other tools also are open to other stuff. So that means suddenly when the AI can be integrated into my HomePod, so that is speaking with me, and the AI is integrated into my into websites for booking cinemas or ordering food and things like that. So when everything is connected with AI, AI can control it. That would mean I can walk around in my apartment and talk to the AI and say, okay, I want now to go to a movie and book a ticket for me, and what do you suggest? That is a simple case, or and the same AI can write an article for you without going to the computer. So because it's already possible, I can integrate AI into my website, into my content management system, and the AI can write a blog article. So, and at some point, I definitely see that you are sitting on your couch or maybe in a bus and have an idea, and maybe talk to your AI assistant. I have an idea for a new blog article. Can you write it and publish it in 10 minutes before you publish? Um, uh, Read it for me, and something like this is definitely will be possible.
Some of these assistants or agents, they already exist now, don't they?
Yeah, but most of the stuff is not AI based. You're totally right. A lot of things are already existing, and they integrate AI more and more. But the interesting part is when everything is connected to each other. That's the cool thing. Or to have memory. For example, ChatGPT and the function existed is quite new. ChatGPT had no memory. So that means if I'm asking, or let's say I'm briefing ChatGPT for content for my website, and I open up every time a new window, that all the windows had no knowledge about each other. So it would be possible that some of the words or sentences that are used in one chat are maybe already existing, or some of the ideas. So I always had to use it in my prompt, what I already did before, when I was not using the same chat window. Now I can say, okay, save that in a memory, and I'm doing that for my Dave Farrell stuff. That ChatGPT knows and saves things and use it in future dialogues, and that is already a big change. And imagine that would be with everything: food you ordered, uh, things you cooked, things you watched, and and well, things you prompted or whatever, and then everything is connected, and somehow we have
It's
something like a memory. Yeah.
it's interesting because I was just, when you spoke here, thinking that, like you say, when I've seen a Netflix movie and it asks, do you like or love it or you don't like this movie, and I think based on that it will recommend the next movie. So that's kind of like a very low level of what you're speaking about there. But like everybody knows, you search on something or you speak on something, and suddenly ads pops up with the words from what you said or wrote down. So it's kind of like that, but just much more advanced, where we kind of like really get to know you, me, as a person from our habits, and then be able to predict something also? You think, like saying, okay, you might be hungry based on last Tuesday. Do you still want the pizza, or do you want from the burger joint?
Yeah, predicting. Yeah, sure, why not? Predicting, yeah, so technically you could always predict by random of things from the past, but the cool thing would be to suggest something new. For example, you ordered pizza all the time, blah blah blah, and the AI suggests you a new restaurant, but uh, based on past things, that the suggestion is still something you like to eat, but maybe never ordered before. So that's the interesting part when AI is deeply integrated. But that is yeah, that is the future.
It is the
But
future, but it's interesting to talk about it. So, David, are you ready? I know you got some work. I asked you if you could show some of the things that you've done. Can you share this with us?
yeah, sure, I can. It's more of my artist, creative work, not the commercial work. But I start with some photos first. Let me uh, let me go to that. So I don't know. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I see here.
Okay, so what the first photos I'm sharing, because that is already the oldest ones, but quite interesting. So that is material for my exhibition. Everything what we see were photos there were printed and were at the exhibition. The interesting part here is because I start to work on it March this year, and March this year, so exhibition was in summer. And March this year, something like consistency in characters was hard to get, and so when I started with it, it was nearly impossible. But now it's possible. So, but it's already a big thing to have a couple of photos that are you having the same character. And why I'm showing this first is also because most people, when they use AI, generate images that look like AI images because they are most of the time over the top. They are too perfect. It's like when people are on Snapchat and using tons of filters, or on Instagram, you know that all times when people are using so many filters and they were just a bit too much, and suddenly the skin was just blurry, yeah, and lips were big, and because everyone uses too much, and it's not that easy to generate photos that are less perfect and that look more analog and more normal. And let's show some of them because they were also used in videos. So what I did, because they belong to the story, to the guy, he is John Doe, work-life balance, and this his first phase is a bit negative, no, because he is not happy. And those were all generated with a little bit black and white, grainy style, and already um, um, but also a bit storytelling. And for those, for example,
So,
that one is already, yeah,
sorry to interrupt you here, David, but just for me to understand. So this is the same character,
yeah.
but what you prompted is he's in different positions, different clothes, but also the surroundings.
Correct. So yeah, everything I prompted, and the hard thing, and now it's a bit easier, but always the complicated thing was in different scenes to have the same character, and also to have the same character but with different outfits and things like that. So that was already quite tough and but this is a very good example because the whole exhibition was with him, and in different situations at work, in his free time, on the street, at work, tired, in the bus, and things like that. So it's
Can,
always the same character in different situations.
can you go back to the one with the where we see his face quite clearly? I think that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we see that? Just so there's no confusion here. This guy we look at here he doesn't exist.
No, never
So,
existed. So he is even not based on something. When I started, I based with generations based off mine because, as I said, in the beginning, there was not much possibility to have consistent characters. You always need data. So I created a lot of photos of myself in different perspectives to have enough data and to base the generations on it. That's why it took me over 3 months to come up with him, because the technology also changed. But yeah, correct. So he is completely prompted. So how I always start is I develop the character. So that means you start to define the person you want to work with your future prompts. Let's say, even you do not start with age, so you start with this look and things like that. And then when you have a portrait of a person that is perfect, then you can use that for future prompts and use it as a character difference, reference. That's the name for it, but it needs to be perfect. If I'm using a character reference that already has some issues, all those issues would be in all future generations. Let's say one eye is not correct, or ear is not correct, or the nose is crazy. All the future generations will also be crazy. So the first step, if you want to have consistent characters, start with a character, develop close-ups in different perspective. And when you have the feeling, okay, now I have a version of the person that is perfect with the skin, with mimic, with details, then you can start with prompting details in different scenes.
wow.
And for example, then you can also create things like this. And it's always the same guy or have different outfits. And because I was very good and very detailed with him, I would even be able to use him, and that's maybe the sentence to finish the John Doe, to put him in Nike clothes and run a Nike advertisement with him with John Doe, and that's maybe something last to John Doe. So imagine all those people that is maybe in a different style and different perspectives, but imagine that is a person on a social media profile. So it's already happening that there are AI-based created virtual influencer, very successful ones, and imagine John Doe will be an influencer for outdoor campaign in the woods, and the products are a tent or shoes or whatever. You would enjoy it because the character fits.
Yeah.
And this is just an example of consistent characters and what you can do with it. I run an exhibition, but imagine John Doe I also could start an influencer profile with him on social media, and people can follow him in his life, in different stages in his life, and everything is based on AI. And
Yeah.
just for example, because that was or that one that was also used in the video.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, or that one was prompted with Copenhagen cobblestones. That's why people asked me when I was in Copenhagen. So everything with him is AI based.
And it's I was just thinking you can even it's kind of like a story. I know that's kind of what you did also, but I mean if you wrote a book and you put in those pictures and for different chapters and things like that, it would make it like really, I mean it's kind of mind-blowing for me.
Yeah, true. Yeah, correct. So yeah. Uh, just some more examples, because he started to paint later in his life, and he canceled his job. That was a scene of his boring daily life, and different.
Happy for the first time.
Yeah, and that is maybe directly jump into my latest one, because that is the most crazy one. I will also show videos to some of those photos I'm showing. But maybe let's jump over to vans first, because that is also interesting. That was a test for me, a personal test. I My personal test or idea was, is AI already good enough to create a whole commercial? And Coca-Cola did it, and McDonald's did already some, but I thought, is it possible? In this case, it was for Vans, shoe brand. I guess everyone knows it, hopefully, or Converse or whatever. So a lifestyle brand, and usually lifestyle means you have images or campaigns that are a little bit emotional, that transport a feeling, a lifestyle, and things like that. And I generated footage for my commercial, and I will show it later. And it was based on a commercial campaign by Vans early this year. And I tried to recreate it in my own way, but with the same idea. And the campaign was showing different artists in their daily life. Everyone has Vans on, and show them in a different life situation. So what I created a surfer girl, an artist, another artist with a dog, and different perspective and details. And no, I guess you don't see that is AI, but important for that campaign it was already, and you can see it definitely in that thumbnail, also to have a consistent style and colors, because
So
everything, yeah,
so David, just I'm just interrupting again here, but so everything on these images that we see now is AI generated. So everything.
everything is prompted, correct.
Also the vans.
Yeah, also the vans
Okay.
are prompted, the shoes, everything is prompted, t-shirts, the background, here,
Wow.
everything is AI. And here, that was also crazy, because I will show the video, because I wanted to have some Vans close-ups, yeah, because it's a fictitious Vans commercial, and somehow you need to show the shoe, and I don't want to have something like a white screen with a shoe, so something cool that fits to the rest of the movie. So I prompted hands are grabbing a Vans shoe and things like that, and to have the same aesthetic. And yeah, it was already quite cool. Or she's painting this. This is still hard stuff, hands and interacting with something. So I don't know how many versions I created with her pen and or brush in the hands, or again the Vans shoe, the hand. Everything is prompted. Or here,
Wow.
uh, yeah, that is crazy. Or something like this, because in the scene they're also skating and riding bikes. So I prompted a pool, and no one can tell that is not existing. Or a model is sitting, that was in that case New York, on a roof terrace, and So things.
One funny thought here comes to mind. See, if you know, back in the good old days for us, David, we saw some movies with or some commercials with a very nice lady, and we were like, "Wow, she's so hot," and I wish I could that could be my girlfriend and things like that. So when we watch, and if it's a female or a man here, doesn't matter. But I was just thinking, we watch one of these, and we could actually, as a human being, have the emotions of falling in love with a person here who's actually not a person.
Yeah, and it's already happening because I mentioned that there are already some agencies. And one example is an agency from Barcelona. They created a fitness influencer based on AI. And in the beginning, it was, and still, I think on the social media profile, it's not mentioned that it's AI based. I'm not exactly sure. I need to double check. But it was worldwide, everywhere in the press, because the influencer girl got millions of followers, and they are making 10K already euros in a month, and a profit with deals on Instagram. But the coolest thing is that famous people dropped her messages because they liked her and asked for dating. Famous soccer players, famous football players. Because in that case, what you said, and let's say for sure, if you have an influencer profile with a girl like this, people definitely they will ignore that it's AI. They will drop a message.
And did they know? Did they know that there was an AI influencer?
I'm not sure because after a while it was everywhere in the press, and I'm pretty sure that somehow they know it after, but maybe not in the beginning, and sometimes people are just ignoring it.
I
So
was I was
if you have the sentence, and now also, and it was not there some months ago, but now also Instagram and the other tools have AI tech. So if you generate an image with AI and upload it, I need to flag it, and then it's display it's AI based. But still, it's very tiny, and I guess there are always people that totally ignore that fact and treat the fictitious person as it's a real one.
I'm really thinking that this is interesting, and I'm having a neuro what do you say, neuro science guy who's very high degrees of how our brains work. I'm having him on an interview soon, and if I remember this, it would be really interesting to ask him, because I was thinking, even if a person knows that this is an AI image, and if an AI image responds to a person in the way that the person would love to be responded to, I mean, like if a person really likes being responded to in a very nice and female tone and things like that, it's really like, would it be? And maybe it's already like this now, that I know this is an AI person, but I'm still falling in love with her because she's so beautiful and she's so texting me in a way that really it feels so good for me.
Yeah, but it's that was my test with the exhibition. So can a good story strong enough be strong enough that the fact that everything is based on AI is not important anymore? And it was like this. People completely ignore it and don't care if it's AI, to be honest. And just another example, because it was also a big discussion when 3D and CGI started. Who who's complaining in the cinema that a background explosion, a person is not real? No one cares anymore. In the beginning, it was, oh no, it's killing the actors and blah blah blah. But so many things are already AI, and with AI, CGI, with AI, and this because I was thinking about that when you mentioned it earlier. With AI, it's now already possible that actors that are dead already or in a different age can still be in a movie. So as a young version of themselves, or yeah, even people that are dead already could be in a future movie with AI.
I
And because
think
I remember someone was asked to the wife of a dead actor was asked to you, and I don't remember which one, but so it will definitely happen that we see persons on screen that are dead already or in a different age.
there's two things here that pops to my mind. One thing is I think there was a movie, I don't recall if it was Robert De Niro and Al Pacino or something, where they were actually younger than they are. I don't know if that was generated the way that you spoke about now. I heard an interview with an AI guy who's very experienced and who is a, he's an American, and he is developing, I can't remember the name of this, but he is developing something very interesting where people can upload photos, voice things, and things like that from them. And the idea is actually that, like you said, a person is dead. Can we maybe still make a movie or something? That we have like a diary where we actually can upload everything we want. And the idea is, and people, as I understand it, have already signed into this, that after we're dead, we will still be there. So for if for me, it was kind of crazy first time I heard it, but and I listened to him. But if my daughter, when I died, if she really missed me a lot and she didn't want me to die, she can still have me there speaking to her and being there, just like
But
not
it's already
magic, but
possible.
me.
Yeah, yeah, it's already possible, and it's already no big deal. But because I just need 4 seconds of your speaking voice, and I need just one good image of you, and I can create new versions of you with new text. So if you have, let's say, some our assistants or whatever, and yeah, it would be possible that your dead mom says good morning to you. I can imagine, let's say, going back to that assistance, and I say, because everywhere you can define the avatars and things like that. Imagine your assistant is your mom with the look of your mom and this voice of your mom, because you just need a very short snippet of her voice, and AI can already recreate and clone the voice. It's already possible with actors and different things, but it's also possible with your own voice, and even use your own voice in different languages. Everything is already possible, but it's an interesting case. And yeah, for sure. Because I really can imagine the same situation with, okay, someone broke up with your girlfriend or boyfriend and you still want to talk to her or him. So things like that will be definitely interesting business cases. Also, I saw a case or read about a case for mental health issues, to have someone to talk to and things like that. Yeah.
And
Um,
that's interesting, because I know in Japan they have made and that this is some years ago. I don't know how it is now, but they used like I think it looked like some kind of dogs or something, but it was very obvious that it was a robot. But it spoke with a very nice voice, and it was a few years ago, so it's not as developed as now. But they tested out on homes for old people. Instead of having a nurse who didn't have the time, they had this dog thing speaking with the old people and actually measured how they felt. And I think even they measured their heart rate and things like that. And as I recall it, it was they felt better with this robot thing than the stressful nurse who didn't have time to speak with them and actually didn't really listen to them.
Mm.
And I know that there's it's testing now, and that there's kind of like robots, as I think you can both have them as females and males now, and it's developing too as AI develops. So like you say, you can put in the favorite voice, you can put in everything. So you will actually have, like, maybe very soon, looks like a person there. So you can say, okay, I miss my girlfriend, but this is what I want now. And this is happening. It's just, for me, it's kind of crazy, but I know it's this way it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it would definitely come. Maybe two more examples
yeah,
with
let's look
images,
here.
um, because this is for me the most interesting case. Usually, I'm also working on a short movie about the Bronx in 1977, and I was not there, and maybe some people were still not born, but I am able with AI to recreate scenes out of it, and that's also for me a really, really cool case to travel in time, yeah, and to generate images for a movie or short movie I want to work with cameras and aesthetics out of that time, and
So
to have a
all of this, David, it's also AI generated, the whole thing.
yeah, everything, yeah.
Wow. Wow, yeah.
So now we jump to, maybe before I show my latest one, we jump to some,
One question before
yeah.
we jump into this, because now we're seeing different faces, now we're seeing different people. And is there any way that we can be sure that it's just a question that comes to me now, that this is AI generated, but is there any way we can be sure that there's not one single person on this earth that doesn't look like this AI image?
Mm, most generators, um, there are some open source and some have no regulations, but tools I use, for example, do not allow to use prompts with celebrities. So uh, actors or presidents and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's forbidden. But there are tools already that are open source where you can generate videos and images with Trump and create crazy things already. So um, to have a that's a bit tricky because everything is based on human data. And the best example is when you create songs that are based on AI data. And you know already how many people were uh, having law issues because someone said you copied something from me. But yeah, so everything was already somewhere and is reused. And the problem with AI photos is I don't know how high are the chances to have a person that maybe exists in reality. I had I had already some situations where people said he looks like or blah blah blah, but I would say at the moment on a high level it's that it's very still very unique. So you always
Yeah,
can copy and paste real persons, but uh, it's yeah, it's to be honest, I cannot answer that.
no, it's okay. I was
It
just
would be so what I did uh, for some tests that is already some months ago to recreate persons. I used another AI to check the percentage of lookalike of that person compared to another photo, and I was always maximum of 70%. So I never got to 100%. So I created really existing people. So I guess the AI or whatever that detects AI will see a difference if it's created by AI or not. I'm pretty sure. That's always possible to detect AI. Not a human, but a software will be always able to detect that. The question is, and you're totally right, let's say we have something like a passport control at the airport and or fake news, whatever. So we, at the end, the human needs somehow like a software control to check things. Yeah, we have the same issues with fake news. And especially when you start to prompt things like that, they look like a film done with your mobile phone, and then it's already on low quality. And this is the tricky part, because when you simulate things in a bad quality, they look more realistic than you simulate things in a good quality. Because the bad quality made with your iPhone or an older iPhone or old video recorders, suddenly those things look more realistic than the over-optimized things.
That's true. That's true.
And
Yeah.
this is the tricky part. When you integrate that in your prompt, then the things definitely look more realistic than the over-optimized. And for example, what I did here was also for testing purposes, because I want to do something with oceans. And this is, in my opinion, already crazy.
Wow, yeah.
What I can do with underwater stuff. So looks like there's a lot of data existing with underwater stuff, because those are really, really crazy. Just some examples. And I am also working on animating them. But those underwater scenes are wild.
Wow, yeah.
Oh, and my latest project, that is what I did. And after that I can show some videos. So what I did with Vans was to recreate a advertising campaign clip, and then I thought, okay, how, because that is what I really want to go or do in long term, to create music videos. And I tested myself how good I already can recreate a music video that has the same aesthetic and a storyline, and but I did it in my way. I created a short sequence of "Lose Yourself" from Eminem of that video. And I don't, maybe you remember also the movie of him.
Yeah, I remember the movie, but I don't remember it in detail.
Yeah, in the movie, so he's in the beginning, he's in the bathroom warming up, and then he's choking up, not successful with his first show, and later on. So it's about his career and being an artist and a musician and things like that. And I recreated some of the scenes with AI, but with different characters. So I had the same story of "Lose Yourself," and the song is about a musician, but I did it with a boxer, with a chef, and also with a musician. And I created all the scenes again with AI, but in a very cinematic look. And I will show just some examples. So that is
Yeah,
the
please
Detroit
do.
Bridge. That is also a musician. He was a boxer. and the style is very cinematic. And that was hard to recreate. That is also one scene in the music video where because the movie was 8 Mile, and the 8 Mile is a road in Detroit. And I tried to recreate that scene where they are filming the sign on the highway, and I created all of it, not in the 100% correct way, but I was able to recreate it, the whole scene where they're driving under the sign and things like that. And that was also different character. And just to show some of the scenes in a very cinematic style. And that is already quite crazy in my opinion. So I don't know if you can see something.
I see it now.
So let's start again with John Doe. That was the one of the exhibition. For that, I also used some of the photos to make a video out of it, and that's quite interesting to show at first because that was in the quality I can create in September. And I'm not sure if I don't know if you don't have sound, right?
I didn't hear anything, but I see.
Yeah, the problem is with my microphone. So, but this is already what you can see with what was possible some weeks ago, some months ago. So, so let's see. I don't know why it's so strange. Okay. Okay. No. Sorry, now everything is here. So that was the events campaign I did. As just a surf scene, sorry. So what is already quite cool is, for example, generate wind, or for example, the underwater scene. So I generated 2 clips. Both have the same starting point, but the second scene I rewind, and that created that effect that she is coming into the wave and slowing down. So it was more or less out of the same starting shot. And let's show also my event spot. Yeah, the problem is there's no sound because I'm connected with a Bluetooth headset, so I wouldn't need to switch it off. So everything also has sound, but that is the events spot.
Wow.
And just for example, that she's walking with the dog, and there's also barking in the background. Where is she walking at the end? So that is, in my opinion, already crazy. Or even how he's moving the shoe. But I'm really happy with the walking scene.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. And we had that one, and that is, for example, and those close-ups we will see now. So every time a person is very close, is played by me, because to prompt very detailed is very, very hard, and often you don't get the results, especially when it's about eye movement and things like that. So for all those close-ups, I recorded myself and moved my face and things like that, and generate the video out of it. It's already quite interesting. So, and this is This lose yourself in the background, you will directly recognize it, but it was more or less a recreation of the first scenes out of the music video. And I just play it to see what I've done. Let's do it again. So, for example, also here, that was also me, because in the music video, he says, look. So I also recorded myself to say, look, and he is also saying it with the same head movement. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is already crazy. So this is an example of cinematic style. The quality is perfect for social media at the moment, but I would say not in 1-2 months you can even watch things like that on a TV and big screen, things like that. So for social media, it's already quite crazy because at social media we wouldn't see it in that resolution you look at the moment right now, but the movements are already look so natural with her. So that is crazy.
Yeah, that it's really crazy, and I think this one, her eyes, how she moved.
That was also me. That was me filming myself. I even used the cap, and because I want that it fits to the text of the song at the situation. So I looked my eyes and moved my eyes. Yeah, so it's based off my movement.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? The same with that scene. Also my head. Also me. Not me, not me, not me, not me, me, not me, not me, not me. Yeah, it's already crazy what is possible.
Wow, David. This is how I'm very curious. This is amazing. And
And you must imagine there's also sound design. So the underwater scene there was bubbling and the sound of a diver and all the things. So it would definitely feel different with the sound. But yeah, it's
how long, how if you want to share that, creating that, like let's take the 8 Mile thing. How long time did this take you?
um, yeah, because there's still a learning curve because the technology change not every day but every week. So your way of prompting is different every couple of weeks. So it's still a process where you need to try out a lot of stuff, especially when you did something that was not done before. So let's say the prompting of the images, because at the end I'm generating 100 of images and just need I definitely for 8 Mile I created 400-500 images and just used 40 maximum at the end. So the prompting is the longest phase, and I would say in a row maybe 1.5 or 2 days, maybe. I'm not exactly sure because I always did it between and then just for an hour recreated some scenes. So then you pick the good ones, then you optimize and recreate and upscale them, and then the video creation starts. The video creation was a full day of work, I would say, everything together, because depending on the tools, you have a longer wait time. Some tools generate a video in 6 seconds. Another software takes 5 minutes. So there was a lot of tryouts, and for the final editing, also, let's say 3-4 hours. So I would say maybe for that one, because there was a lot of tryout, especially also to fit it on the original video. And I would say 4 days maybe in total,
Yeah,
something like this. But it would be, if I would do it again, it would be 50% of the time, because yeah, I already tested so many things. It's a lot of try and error still.
and that makes sense. And I think just for, because when I'm listening to you, just to really, even though it's 4 days, and even though, like you say, you could do it 50% of the time, but I think it's so very important, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the last 22 years, all of your work, the last 2 years, all of your work with AI, all of this experience, all of those hours are helping you in this. And also because
Yeah, sure.
I know,
Yeah.
because I remember some of our talks, my mind has a little bit difficult, because it kind of like, I nearly see like smoke coming out of my ears when you begin to talk about some of the things. So it's, as I understand, you are focused and you know exactly, and you work and trial and error and like this. But I'm just saying that it's, when you say 4 days, it might take a person who has no experience with it. It would take a longer time than that, right? It's something that you really have so much experience with.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and I know what I want to change or what is not correct because of my work experience. But the funny thing is that some of the tools are based on trainings data that is generated in China, and even when they work with English prompts, they have a different writing and order style. That's something you need to test out. Yeah, and as I said, if you have knowledge about light, you will integrate into the prompt. If you don't have the knowledge, maybe the boxing scene, yeah, with the fog in the background would look different, and you just would have a plain wall with a boxer. So yeah, so it's definitely something you need to know before you
Yeah,
prompt it, right? Yeah,
awesome.
and maybe I can share it just for you, not to the public, but you can watch it for a second.
I can put
Yeah,
the link under the YouTube video, so people
yeah,
can see, click and see it there.
yeah,
Is that you
yeah.
now? Where's
Sorry.
this playing now? Where is this? Interesting. Okay, there we go. Here we go. Thanks, David. So,
Yeah,
David, like you said, we've been running for quite a while now. And is there anything, because I think we are about to say that we have, like, at least for me, I've answered my questions in mind right now, but is there anything that you feel like sharing that we didn't go through about AI or about your work? And then after that, finishing off, I would really love if you could share how people can, what you help with right now, and how people can get in contact with you. And I make sure that there are links below the video. So if anybody want David's expertise, you can find him under the video here. But first of all, David, is there something that you want to mention or that's on your mind that you think we didn't
yeah.
cover?
Very important is because I can remember people saying or commenting, even politics in the 90s, the internet will not survive. Everyone needs to jump on the train, even if it's just for private purposes. The AI will be there forever, and it's bigger and more important than everything we ever had in the past. So don't miss it. Jump on the train. It's not necessary to learn stuff, but to try out and to understand what is happening. because AI will be deeply integrated in everything in the future, and people need to understand what is happening there. And it's easy to play around and test it and have fun with it. ChatGPT is already quite a cool tool to play and test it. So in my opinion, the most important thing is don't ignore it. It's already such a big thing. And yeah.
I really love that what you just said, and I'm just. Do you have like an idea? If I think many people have tried ChatGPT, but if they don't, or if they have tried and it's very like on a low level, do you have some ideas on how people could get on a train and begin working with it? Some just what pops up in your mind now?
Yeah, I would consume content. So you can go on Twitter and follow some companies like ChatGPT or the companies OpenAI or other companies to just, yeah, it's like watching news, just to read a little bit. And what I do on not on a daily, but every second day, I watch tons of YouTube videos because there are so many people just telling the latest AI news, and it's very entertainable and easy to consume content, to watch videos. And for every topic for AI, there are already channels, and that's something I would do because just do it once a week. Follow some YouTube channels that are focused on AI news, and to get a feeling what is possible and where we are at now. And maybe there's always a situation where maybe you are the boss or your boss asks yourself how we can integrate AI into our business. And maybe then an idea pops up because uh, in some countries, we are still in the digitalization process, but now we are not just in digitalization. We are now in the process how AI is or will be deeply integrated in business life, especially when things come up for analyzing things, Excel sheets and all that stuff. AI do things like this in seconds. So yeah, watch content. For me, it's easiest part. Other people like to read, then use X or Twitter. There's also a lot of content shared. So yeah, YouTube and Twitter would be my suggestions.
Awesome. Very good input. Anything else on the like on the end? Anything else you want to share before you can share about yourself?
Uh, hmm, no, no.
We we also ran for 2 hours now.
Yeah, 2 hours.
So so David, what right now? What do you help if somebody? What can you help a company or whoever you help with, and how can they find you?
So what I'm mostly doing at the moment, so I can on because every company is different, but I can help companies to see how they can integrate AI. But that is not my uh, my special or focus topic, but I have so much experience that to a certain level I can consult where it could be helpful to integrate AI. But my most cases are to generate content, and content could be images, video, or text or whatever for companies. That could be advertising. So let's say banner, digital campaigns, what we saw, videos on social media, on different websites and things like that. I can also create content for websites to extend existing content, let's say images, or to create new photos. That is my basic work I do at the moment, especially for e-commerce websites. Usually they have quite boring product shots, and I can recreate new ones or to create more emotional stuff and things like that. So everything where in the past people used boring stock footage. In that case, I can create definitely something cooler, something more unique, and that also fits to the style, to the branding of the company. That's what I do most of the time.
Got it. And if you provide me with a link, email address or website, whatever you want, I can put that under the video too, so people can find you.
Yeah,
But
the easiest way would be my artist page. I also have my business page, but my business page, I'm still working on showing the AI stuff and the AI services. So at the moment, a more, let's say, fitting profile would be my artist page. And even if there is nothing commercial stuff mentioned, but that's what I'm doing, and people watch it here. So yeah. So the Dave Farrell web page, but I will give you the link.
you can give me the link, so I'll put it under. And cool. So David, I'm gonna finish off now, and I'm not gonna recap it because it's two hours of speaking.
Yeah,
But
that's
I'm gonna
great.
finish it off, and I got one task for you and I. I would really love, after me finishing it off, that we would take a photo of this, and
Yeah.
so I can share what we've been doing here. But I want to say, first of all, thank you, David, because it's really, for me, interesting to to how can I say this, to all of your experience. And I'm so humbled actually about it, because 22 years of working with this and 2 years of the AI thing. And it's not just speaking about it, you are doing it. We saw some of your work, you're creating it, you are watching content from other people. So when you speak now, and I speak and I ask questions, but I'm a novice compared to all of the expertise you have here. And I really, really, really want to thank you for actually participating. I know I asked you and you say, cool, I'm ready. And I'm kind of like, this is so cool, because there's so much knowledge here, and there's so much from all of your years, and you've just shared it. And I really, really enjoyed listening to it. And I hope and think that people will enjoy it too. So from my brain and from my heart, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, David. It's been a pleasure being with you here, as always, my friend, but here also on Zoom for 2 hours straight. Thank you a lot, man.
Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, and it's always fun to share and talk about it, because it's a passion. So and I really love it. So it's, for me, the second time in my life that I get goosebumps. The first time when I created a website, and the second time I got mind blown by AI, because